1340 KVGC on a Friday morning, the eve of Halloween. With me, Douglas Viviani of Everything Old is New Again. You know, we don't talk enough about Everything Old is New Again, Doug. We kind of just BS amongst ourselves here and talk about stuff. Give us the lowdown on the hoedown about Everything Old is New Again.
Great, absolutely. Good morning. Everything Old is New Again is just, in some ways, we try to bring some fun to the radio. And what we do is we take a look at a genre or a topic of pop culture every week, and we examine where it came from and why we still like it to this day. And we do it in lots of different ways. I have a partner, David Cohen, and I, who go back to high school, so we are able to jab at each other and have some fun. And we like to say we are a nostalgic look to the future, if that makes any sense. And if it doesn't, you could say that we start the arguments you love to have. So grab onto either of those, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's addicting because we kind of just kind of have fun on the radio. And sure. In our day and age, I think it's nice to just take a break for an hour from everything and then move on. All
right, before we move on, let's just address the elephant in the room here.
It is a little scary. You're talking about, of course, the impending Game 3 of the World Series tonight. The Mets, it's if you've seen the game, that the first game, 14 innings, I was up till, in New York time, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning watching this, and everywhere I went the following day, everyone was kind of dragging a little bit, and if we had won that game, boy, it would have been worth it, right? But we lost that game, and that really made it difficult, and I think that carried over, what do I know, to Game 2, because they really just got blown out there 7-1. So we're back, we're reinvigorated. It's like we took a shower and washed off those 2 games, and now it's starting all over again. We just got to win 4 out of 5, that's all.
Hey, it's been done.
It's been listen. The Mets did it in '69. They did it again in '86. So who's to say they're not going to be able to? And with the pitching they have, if the pitching performs, and again, you had mentioned this previously, they're not experienced, so you never know. That might be a factor. If they are able to produce the way they did all season long, there's no reason why you can't put them together.
And you have to understand, I'm being kind to you and acting like baseball season is still. Baseball season ended a couple of weeks ago. I mean, you understand that, don't you? Here on the West Coast,
I do. But then I search for and try to figure for myself my own sense of being an adopted son of Jackson. Let's say, how are the Argonauts doing? And that seems to be the next thing. Of course, we move on to football and basketball now, I guess, right?
Yep, that's the big game. See, historically, the big game was played on Veterans Day, and it always was played no matter what day Veterans Day landed on. It was always played on Veterans Day, and then sometime after, I want to say it was after the war, maybe in the 50s, they changed it, and it was always the last game of the season. Well, our football league, we're in the Mother Lode League with other schools in our area. Well, they realigned last year and added another team, and so now every team has a bye week in league, and they did away with the end of the season rivalries. Calaveras would always play Bret Hart, we would always play Amador, Somerville and Linden would always play each other, but now they've moved, so next week is actually the final game of the season, so they've moved our cross-county rivalry to today, which is still big. It's still big, but it goes back. Some people say it's one of the oldest rivalries in California in high school.
Huh.
I don't know if it is or not, but that's what they say.
And who is that? Amador is the big rival at this point?
Yeah, Amador always has been. Argonaut High School was formed in '83. Jackson High School and Ione High School. Ione is a town about 10 miles to the west of here. They combined high schools and formed Argonaut High School. So it used to be Jackson and and Amador were the big rivals. Now it's Argonaut and Amador because there's no Jackson High School anymore, even though people still call it Jackson High School.
What are their records, off the top of your head?
Well, for 10 straight years, Argonaut beat Amador, and that streak was broken in fact, it was broken 2 years ago, and this could be the third year in a row. Never know.
Okay.
Never know.
Okay.
Well,
and that's going to be tonight, 7:15?
Tonight, 7:15, pregame kickoff about 7:30, and we'll find out.
Now, am I mistaken? I'm going to go on a limb here because I did listen to it a little bit over the internet. Was JD in on the booth a couple of weeks back? Or no?
Yeah. Yes.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay.
He and Frank Halverson do it. Jake is there also. My other son Jake is there. And then MC, who is JD's wife, she's actually producing the show at the site, going through. It's kind of it's not just two guys talking in a microphone.
Yeah, it's great. It's good. It is a good presentation. I enjoyed it.
Now, tonight, if you want to watch the game, you can actually go to the KVGC website, and then up on the left-hand side, there's some buttons that say, I think it's KVGC video or live video. You can click on that at about 7 o'clock, and we have a live video feed also, along with the play-by-play of the game.
That's a nice that's a nice option for me to get away from the chaos around here. The pre-Halloween chaos of curling the hair and crying about what shoes to wear and all of that. So I'll say that I need to work, and I get into the office and I'll close the door and do my research.
How long has Halloween been going on? Do you know? Have you ever looked?
I sure do. It goes back to 1745. Yeah. All right, and we actually are going to do a show this week on Everything Old is New Again, and we're timely as heck because we're going to be broadcasting on Saturday, and guess what? Saturday we're going to be talking about and having some fun with nothing else but Halloween. So we have different, areas of the country we live in, and different things are done during Halloween. We're going to go through that a little bit and go through the history and the evolution of this most popular celebrated holiday around the world, actually.
So you said 1745?
1745, it goes back in our country, and it was a way, believe it or not, where the inhabitants or the farmers mostly would want to celebrate those who passed away. And so what would happen was the children would go from door to door and ask for soul cakes, which was some form of delicacy at the time. I don't know the recipe. Maybe a barbecue guy might know that. But anyway, and they would ask for the soul cakes and get the soul cake, and that would be the payoff to pray for the person or persons that passed away recently in that particular house. And if you didn't give the soul cake, then that would be it. You'd have a trick played on you by the trick-or-treaters, and the tricks weren't just like invisible ink. They were a little bit more nefarious.
They'd burn your outhouse down or something like that. No?
Well, actually, the original egging of a house, I believe, started at that point. They would go to egg your house. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. I just wanted to see if you are, looking forward to, I don't know, the pancake breakfast or the flea market that's happening this weekend as well over at Jackson.
Yeah, we've got an Angels Camp. We've got a flea market. It's a free flea market for folks that were affected by the Butte fire. They need to bring their, FEMA is here, and they've given out, ID cards. So you have to have your FEMA card and proof of residency. But it's a free flea market for folks. And
free, so they just go and, and choose what you like. That's terrific.
And then on Saturday, tomorrow, the Jackson Lions Club, Mel and Faze, the Board of Supervisors, and the Italian Picnic Grounds, and all the fire companies in Amador County are hosting a big pancake breakfast and kind of a, Halloween type. The kids are invited to come in their costumes. There'll be some, candy Halloween trick-or-treating going on there. And that's from, I believe it is from 9 to noon. It's from 9 to noon tomorrow. It's $5, pancakes, breakfast included with that. So kind of a little bit of fun there.
Now, does that set the tone, you think, for the day? Would that, if you attend that, you'll get into the mood a little bit for Halloween, let's say?
Yep, because
then having a decent, nice breakfast there. Yep. What else? I mean, I don't know. I have for me, it's movies, of course. I'm a pop culture guru, or it's not nice to say, but I'm just stuck on the pop culture. So the question is, I don't know. I get involved with the movies, and their AMC was running a marathon yesterday on from Halloween, the original Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
So I was watching that, and I watched all 5 of them. There's a bunch of them, but I watched 5 in a row yesterday while working. I don't know how I got sucked into that, but
you better not tell your.
It just gets you into the mood a little bit. But Halloween isn't always nefarious like that to me. But anyway, are there any Halloween movies that you're thinking of that might, I don't know, get you into the mood at all or no?
I'll tell you what we did last night. Teresa and Jake and I. Jake was over at the house, and we were watching. It was a special 2-hour cross episode of Bones and Sleepy Hollow. So we were watching this. I don't know if you've seen either of those shows or not, but
I have, yes.
Okay, so we're watching that, and then commercial comes, so we pause it during the commercials so we can jump through them. Of course, for a man that lives by commercials, that's kind of hard to say, but we jump through the commercial anyway. And so I go, "Hey, do you know this song?" And I picked up my. Actually, what started, we were watching a commercial, and the guy talked into his phone and said, "Play spooky sounds." Into his Google, app on his phone, and the thing started playing. So we were trying that and blah, blah, blah. So then I started playing songs from movies. And then Teresa joined in and started playing theme songs from spooky movies. And then that kind of went into 70s TV themes and 80 TV. And we spent about, 25 minutes. And Jake was thoroughly enjoying himself. You think a 21-year-old guy is going to go, what is it? He thoroughly enjoyed him because Teresa and I were trying to, but one of my favorite scary movies, and I can remember it from high school, was The Exorcist.
Yes.
It scared the pants off me, and I don't know why, but it just, it was real to me for some reason. People getting their heads cut off and still walking, and zombies and Wolfman and Frankenstein and Dracula. I know that's not real, but that Exorcist, that scared me. I don't know if it did to you or not, but
it did. In fact, I used that as a ploy. You'll see on the show if you listen and tune in. As a younger gentleman, I always am looking for some way to get a date and be successful with it. So I went ahead and I went on a date after the weekend before the prom in high school. And brought my date, and I knew, inevitably, I don't care, good, bad, or indifferent this movie, she's going to be scared and, will look for my arm around her to support her. And so needless to say, I went to the movies with her, and that movie scared the bejesus out of both of us, that I forgot to even do that. My plan was foiled by that movie because it was so good and so scary. And I agree, that wasn't released during Halloween, but now, of course, it's become something of something to look forward to. So I shy away from that, I guess, because of that experience, maybe because I was unsuccessful with my plan as a result. So I turned to like Charlie Brown, and
sure.
But that's not as popular these days. But then it might become, because there's a new Charlie Brown movie coming out in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So there's always a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and there's of course Abbott Costello Meet Frankenstein. And my kids now are into, believe it or not, Hotel Transylvania. I don't know if you've seen that.
I saw the first. Taylor. Yeah, I saw the first one about 2 weeks ago. I'd never seen it before, and it was on over the weekend. I was watching it, and it was a cute, funny movie. It was, Yeah,
it wasn't bad. It sort of took off. This is now dating myself, and this is now something that people may not recognize, but it goes back to, if you remember, Mad Monster Party in the late 60s. It was one of these claymations. And they had a party with all the monsters together, and Phyllis Diller, who was a comedian at the time, and was voiced one of these characters, and Boris Karloff, and all that. And so that's what I think they took this off from. And so that's a fun one. We watch one every so often. But yeah, Transylvania and Hotel Transylvania did a nice job. And two, we just saw recently was, they did a sequel, was pretty good too. So I don't know, that's what it's all about. For me, I also throw in the car on the way to work for a couple of days. It's long. The old tape of The War of the Worlds with Orson Welles, if you remember that.
Yes, that is a great. I mean, that is the radio show of all radio shows of all time there. But if you ask me, what is your favorite horror movie of all time, I would have to say, and you just jogged my memory. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
There you go.
That is hilarious. Don't you think so?
It is, and for us who didn't live through the 30s when those monsters were so significant and so severe and so taken so seriously, which they were, they were very, very scary for the people of the day and eerie. If you look at them now with that light, you'd say, yeah, they were. But Abbott and Costello reinvented them and sort of laid the groundwork for Hotel Transylvania to this day, and just like having fun with the monsters. And the actors were a lot of the original actors that performed these characters to begin with. Matter of fact, Bela Lugosi, believe it or not, only played Dracula twice, and it was the original movie and that.
Oh, really?
And that was like something like 25 years later. So it's amazing. He's known as the Dracula, but he only played it twice, and one of them was in this movie, and he really enjoyed it. He had fun doing it because it was a way to shake off this aura of being Dracula and being so scary.
Did you ever see that movie? Oh God, what was it with Johnny Depp, where they make that horrible horror movie, and they try to find Bela Lugosi, and
yes, that's the I forget the name of it, but that's the director
Ed
of...
Wood? Was that it? Ed Wood?
Yes, Ed Wood, exactly, of Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yeah. The worst movie of all time, and now we fast forward to somewhere in the mid-50s, and there's Bela Lugosi one last time, for the third time, playing a Dracula-esque character, but in this movie, he is a vampire from outer space.
Yes.
And and he was going through some tough times personally, and he barely had any lines in it. And towards the end, he didn't even act in it. I think he was really sick. So
I think he had died. Didn't he die? And they had to get somebody else to fill his part or something.
Yes. So if you watch that movie at the end, you'll see this Dracula figure with the cape over his face, and it's not him. It's supposed to be going through the.
That is now my. See how fickle I am. I start with The Exorcist. I go to Abbott. Now that is my favorite horror film. But Douglas, we have run way out of time. Listen, good luck to Angelica and Leo tomorrow. I hope they get you a lot of good candy.
There you go.
So they have 4 or 5 costumes. So you run them around the neighborhood is one thing. Then they change and you run them back through. So
absolutely, we're going to go to downtown Huntington. There's a parade. We go to all the establishments, and there's of course a dad tax. So every so often I'll be digging into their bags and take out the candy that I like. My payment for putting up with this for 8 hours, but it'll be a lot of fun.
There we go.
And it's Halloween, so it's smiles all around, trick or treat.
All right. Douglas Viviani, Everything Old is New again. You can join Douglas and David Cohen every Saturday night at 6 o'clock, and now Sunday evenings at 6 as well here on 1340 KVGC. Douglas, happy Halloween.
You too. Boo.